Oh, hey, how's it going? Today on the Freemasonry Report, tips to make your meeting run smoother. Today on the Freemasonry Report, bringing you 6 tips to make your meeting run smoothly. Let's get started. So you want to ensure having a good meeting. The first tip I can give to you is actually very easy to understand. You want to plan ahead to announce the meeting 10 days ahead of time to make sure everyone in your lodge is aware it's going to be happening. The next thing that you want to do in this announcement is you want to make sure that every brother on a committee is aware that there's going to be committee reports and they may be needed to talk about something that's happening on their committee and report in. 2 things that you can do to make yourself stand apart from a lot of other lodges is give an agenda of what you're going to try to cover at the meeting. You don't have to go into extreme detail, just highlight so they're aware of what to expect. Secondly, bring in some background information of what you're going to be discussing in different topics. Another thing to do to ensure you have a good meeting is run through the budgets for different activities that are coming up. This way people know what expenses are going out, what expenses are going in, and it keeps your lodge very transparent for all the brothers to know that you're being a good steward with the funds. Now, if you have regular meetings and you're doing weekly meetings, like a stated meeting one week, a called meeting another, you can limit your meetings to about 2 hours. If you're not, 3 hours is a little bit better just because most Freemason lodges is not meeting as regularly. Now, if you're meeting only once a month, you should be looking at least a 5-hour meeting. I know that sounds incredible, but when you really step back and you look at it, you have a lot of business you need to take care of and you need to give time for everything to get covered that needs to get covered. 2 things you can do if you're gonna have a longer meeting. You can always take a break. There's nothing saying you have to actually go straight through for 3 hours straight or 2 hours straight or 5 hours straight. Take a break it up, have some refreshments, let everyone use the restroom, then reconvene. Take a break just so people can stand up and walk around and get a little bit of motion, because people start to wane after a while and it's hard to actually just sit there. And I've been in the East and I've had my position where I was just like, gosh, it just feels like it never ends, but we have so much we got to get done. Take that break, take the time out just to let everyone regroup, emotionally get re-engaged to go for the second session. I recommend that you have your deacons walking around a lot. If you're handing out papers, to have them hand them out and then collect them again is very useful. We have deacons for a reason. They're supposed to be walking around, so let them walk around. Let them collect the papers, hand the papers out, have everything pre-printed prior to the meeting so the secretary is not printing anything at the last minute, and it makes your meeting run much more smoothly and efficiently. This is very important, especially when you're working in your budgets and taking care of different things that are money related that people may want to see. Have all that stuff pre-printed and it'll help you have a better, smoother meeting. Okay, if you want to have a successful meeting, you need to do some pre-planning. So get your officers together. I don't recommend going to a loud restaurant to do that. You want to find a place that's quiet, more relaxed, somewhere with a conference table. A lot of banks actually have conference rooms that you can take advantage of. And if you have a bank account at the bank, they'll sometimes let you use it at no cost. By doing that, you have more privacy. And you also have an area that's noise free and you don't have people listening into something that they really have no business listening to. Now, if you want to keep everything in the lodge, because there are brothers that believe every piece of business should be transacted in the lodge, I strongly recommend you just sort of take time, sit down in your cafeteria and have the meeting there. If you feel that's a better use of the space and the time, making life easy for everyone. Here's a number one thing that messes up meetings: not sticking to the agenda. I recommend that you have a pre-printed agenda, and in that pre-printed agenda you go point by point by point and make sure everyone's on the same page of what you're going to cover, when you're going to cover it, and how you're going to cover it. Even if it's just your treasurer, your secretary, your wardens knowing what's going on, because you might be limited on funds and you can't print off 50 to 100 agendas. Too, I strongly just recommend stick to the agenda. And also just for a simple fact that as you go through the agenda, if you have a pre-done, your secretary could just be filling in the blanks of what you discussed, and it gives the secretary more time to type or write however they're taking their minutes, and it makes your whole evening run smoother. Now, I know this is a tough one, but don't let people wander off topic. Keep them on track. So if there's something that's going to be discussed about a committee and you're not at that point yet, kindly and humbly and respectfully ask that brother just to take a moment and say, hey, can you hold that idea? We're going to be discussing that a little bit later on, but right now we're just covering this one piece. I strongly recommend that you have in your agenda a little bit of discussion time after each topic. So it allows the brothers a chance to actually take a moment and say something if they need to about something that is actually being covered. Now, if you're like me and hyper organized, what I did is I actually put together my whole annual plan way before I started. You know when I did it? When I was senior warden in June. So 18 months, I was thinking about it. I wrote it up 6 months, and then I executed it as the Worshipful Master during my year. You should be thinking about the same thing. How can I be hyper organized to make these meetings run as smooth as possible? Now, there are going to be things that happen that are really going to mess things up. You might have a surprise at a meeting. You might have an award. You might have multiple voting things you need to transact. You may have a budget meeting that runs really long, but you should have an idea of saying, this is what I want to achieve at each meeting and why it's important. Get your officers on board. I got my officers on board. I had an officers kickoff meeting where I went through what I was going to achieve month by month, why it was necessary. And if you're hyper organized, I recommend you write your own manifesto too and put it into practice. The other really cool thing that looking back at it, I wish I did, is everyone has a Google Calendar. Set up a Lodge Google Calendar and plug those important dates into the Lodge important calendar. Go beyond the Lodge activities. Put what you're going to be covering in the meeting into the calendar so people are aware you're going to do sickness and distress. You're going to be talking about this. You're going to be talking about that. It's a budget meeting. We're going to be talking about the budget. We're going to be talking about X, Y, or Z. Whatever you feel is appropriate for your Lodge that is helpful to get everyone on the same page, I recommend doing it. And by having a digital platform, you can only invite brothers of your Lodge to see that digital platform and hide it from the rest of the world. Also, by using a Google Calendar, you can actually have the comfortability of knowing that nothing is being double booked and nothing's happening at the same time. Okay, now I'm not making any money off of Google, but I really like their products, so that's why I'm bringing it to your attention. There's also Google Docs, so you can put things onto Google Docs that are necessary. So if you want to have a digital budget for everyone to see, being transparent that way, you can do that and only give access to the brothers of the Lodge. You could take advantage of using some of the other elements inside of the Google platform, like the Gmail account, so you have one Lodge Gmail. You can have a Google Voice account to set up to have one Lodge telephone number that is always set for your Lodge. These things are really useful, and the beautiful part about it is it helps ensure you have a good meeting, but then it also helps ensure you have a streamlined, aligned actual Lodge at your local level. I hope this has been helpful for you. Now remember, click, like, and subscribe to YouTube, to Facebook, to Instagram. Freemasonry Report is all over the place, and I have some really cool things I want to share with you. I share a lot in the Freemasonry Report, but I read every comment that's on Facebook and every comment that's on YouTube, and I try to reply, even with this simple thanks for the feedback. Today with this episode, it's so useful, and I know there's a lot of past masters that are watching the videos, and there's a lot of officers watching the videos, and I even run into some sitting masters say, I really enjoyed this episode. If you have something that is really good that I may have missed, write it in the comments below the video on Facebook or on YouTube. That would be really awesome because I love the conversations that are happening when I post these videos. All right, I hope you have a great day. And remember, go to freemasonryreport.com and read our blogs.